My family got all up in my business and was phoning the precincts around my city to talk to the chief of police.
Let me talk to the chief of police.
Hey, one of your guys pulled over my nephew or
my baby boy.
son, Dustin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to Cattablah.
In our Talk and Play podcast, it's like a podcast, but better. See, we're trying to be more energetic, because apparently people don't like that shit. Smash that! I really hate that. Anyways, if you're new to this type of video, we are a podcast kind of channel, but we like giving you guys something to look at while we talk about things. So
that's why our faces are here.
Yep.
Hey, girl.
Oh no!
Yep, you've done that almost every time.
I just get my brain can't wrap around
in your brain
it.
head.
My brain head, my butt ass.
Yeah, my butt ass. Your butt ass. Oh boy.
So today's topic is, I guess, kind of on a more emotional subject.
Could be.
Could
not be.
You know, it's so I'll give you the basis of it. It's kind of like fitting in with your family. It doesn't even have to be your family. I guess it could be like old friends as well that maybe you grew up with. Life experiences kind of change you.
Yeah.
And it's like, for example, and we've said it many times on this channel, Josh and I are from a very, very small town of 1,000 people in a very rural part of Canada. And things are just kind of different there, and the mentalities, and, you know, they're kind of just cut off from the rest of society, I guess is the basis of it. But I think that kind of happens to everybody, where, you know, you move out of home and you kind of carry the ideals and the personalities of your parents.
But the thing is, like, that's what you grew up with for however many years,
Yeah.
so that's just something that has kind of been ingrained in you forever.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, you're gonna carry some of that stuff with you a lot of times for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But as you move out, become your own person, make new friends, make, whatever, you change. Like, nobody ever stays the same. Well,
I hope not.
Yeah. I know some people that do stay the same, because you always have those people that never quite left the nest, and they still exactly like they were back in high school.
Yeah, that's a little pathetic, but that's besides the point. You know, I have a lot of... don't get me wrong. I love my family. I would do anything for them. But
you won't do that.
But I have a lot of problems talking to them about my ambitions, first of all. It's like, well, your job is really good right now. Why don't you just stay where you are for the rest of your life? Like, I've worked in my same job, my same position for 35 years, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sure, there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm an ambitious person. I want, and that's something that they can't really ever understand, because, when you're in a small town, like, there's not many jobs, so everybody just does the same thing for their entire life. Yeah. And that's it. You work at a school or a bank or for the town for 30 years, and then you retire. And that's just kind of how it is. So, I really do struggle with it. And it doesn't even have to be with my ambitions. It's like, oh, you're having a problem with a business because they won't give you a refund on something? Just call the head of that company. Yeah, okay, I'm going to call the head of effing Fido and talk to the president about my cell phone bill and about how I think it's unfair.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a very different thought.
But
and mentality, I guess.
In small towns, yeah, you just walk to that person's house and talk to them about it. It's like, hey, this happened to me. Your employee said this to me. Yeah, it's just a different life. I had a unfortunate occurrence of the police officer once. I was like, I got pulled over. It took me a while to find my registration and insurance because I had just moved, and I was really struggling to find it. He assumed I didn't have it, and he towed my car. And my family got all up in my business and was phoning the precincts around my city to talk to the chief of police.
Let me talk to the chief of police.
Hey, one of your guys pulled over my nephew or
my baby boy.
son, Dustin, and I want you to not do that anymore. Oh my God! Like, that's not how it works, and that's what I mean. Like, it's and I feel like to a certain extent it happens to everybody, where you just, you move out of home or you lose everyday contact with somebody, and it's hard. It really is hard to ever get that kind of relationship back.
Well, it's same thing. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be family. Like, friends too, because I mean, there's some friends that, you could have been really good friends back in the day, and then you just kind of became different people, grew apart for whatever reason, and it just, you're not really friends anymore. Some people even try to become friends with them again. It's just like, you are two different people now, and you don't want to hang out with each other anymore because you're two different people. Like, you don't even like the same stuff anymore. Like, you don't have all those things that you used to have in common, you no longer have in common anymore.
Yeah.
So, it's just everybody changes. You can't expect to stay the same forever. I mean, I guess some people do, but I would think that people would try to, well, I mean, not actively try to just be different, but, grow.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate for me, because when I go into family functions and whatnot, I have a really hard time interacting with anybody, because I have a hard time coming up with subjects to talk about, because I don't live on the farm anymore, and I don't know anything that's going on, and that's really all they want to talk about. Oh boy.
Oh, I could have made it too. I think I might just try and damage boost through there next time.
So that's something that's really sad for me. It's like going home for Christmas and just sitting in silence, and then people ask you about your life, and you start talking to them about it, and then I can't even tell you how many times it's come up with like, well, it sounds like you think you're better than us. No, I have a different view on the world, and I am an ambitious person, and I want to enjoy the better things in life. Like, I want a high-paying job where, maybe I can afford to go on lucrative vacations and whatnot, and that's just not something that they'll ever think about.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Damn, girl!
Damn, girl.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, it's a different thought. I mean, well, it's because like back then, your parents are saving all their pennies to. That was weird. Your parents are saving all their pennies just to put food on the table, whereas now that's not as hard for the average person. I'm not saying it doesn't happen still, because it definitely does.
Yeah.
But that was like very common back then. You save all your money just so you can feed your family.
Yeah.
And then, you were never frivolous with your money.
Oh, and see, that's another part of it that I just thought of that you brought up. I make more than my parents combined the entire time I was growing up. And they seem to think that I should be a millionaire and I should be able to put away all this money. But there's a difference between living in a small town where your mortgage is $250 a month and living in the city. And that's another thing. It's like, wow, I just don't understand why you don't have $300,000 in the bank. It's like, well, you guys have no bills.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you've owned your house forever because your mortgage was nothing.
Yeah.
And not to mention, literally, just like doing anything in the city is more expensive. Back home, you'd fill up on a tank of gas like once every 2 months because everywhere you drive is like 2 minutes away.
Yeah. Oh, and you inherited the farm, so you don't have any of that. It's literally just 100% profit. Yeah.
It's just different. That's all it is. It's just a different life. They had a different life, and that's great. That's how things were back then. That's just how things were. So there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you can't expect things to be the same.
It just makes me sad because then whenever I go back home, I always just find myself thinking I don't belong here, and I also don't belong in the city. Like, being in the city, there's certain things about the city that I really don't like either, and because I'm not a true city boy. So I find I get really depressed when I go home. It's like, well, okay, yeah, I have nothing to talk about with my family, and being on the farm is such a past life thing for me. But then I come home, or come back to the city, it's like, yeah, but I don't feel at home here either. It's such a weird thing for me. And you've known me my entire life, pretty much. I am not the same person that I was growing up. Not even a little bit. Not that I've grown, that person no longer exists.
Well, I mean, it's hard to stay the same person when you come from a small town life going to big city life. To stay the same person that you were back in the small town life is very difficult.
Yeah.
Just because living in the city is so much different.
Oh yeah.
The people are different, the lifestyle's different. To be able to stay the same person, I feel like that would be quite something.
But I was pretty quiet in high school. And not confident. And not even high school, just like my whole life living at home. Didn't really do much besides hanging out with you. And then, but yeah, it seems like a different reality. And I think that's why I struggle with it so much, is because I don't identify with that past even like 1%.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Does anybody else out there feel that way? That they've grown so much as a person that where they originally came from, they don't fit in anymore?
Yeah, well, I still fit in with... Okay, penguin.
Stupid penguin.
I definitely still fit in with my family. Like, we've always had a close family, and I've always been very thankful of that.
Yeah.
But I don't find that I would really fit in with, like, any of the people that we used to, back in school. Like, oh my god. Any of our friends back in school, I don't know if I would fit in with them anymore.
Yeah.
Just because you've grown so apart and different lives, especially the ones that still live at home.
Yeah. It's funny that you say, when you say close family. Like, I have a close family. My family is very, very tight-knit. And maybe it's...
Oh my god.
I don't... They're all close with each other, and I'm kind of on the outside. Because they do hold all of those ideals. A lot of them didn't leave home for a long time.
Yeah.
We left when we were like 17.
Yeah, honestly. That's it exactly. And we were... well, like Dustin said, we were 17 when we moved out, and
17, starting university and living on our own in a city that was 10 hours away from where we grew up.
And all that coming from, like, small town family where you're not used to any of this city stuff. Like we talked about in a previous episode, like taking the bus. Now you got to pay bills, you got to look after yourself, you got to do all that stuff. And you go from having all that basically done for you to having to do that by yourself with really no help, because now you're living alone, not close to your family. It's just a big change.
Yeah, it is a big change, and
and to be able to stay the same person and still be able to connect with the same people, I feel would be very tough, just based on like how we've kind of come across it or have had to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing by any means.
No, it's definitely it's not a bad thing. It's always good to grow as a person, for sure.
It's just I don't know how to explain it. It's a very weird thing to be separated from
a life that you had for so long.
Like, it doesn't feel as though I ever lived that life. I know that it had to have happened, but I can't associate the person I am now with the experiences that I know happened.
Yeah. Because
I would have handled them differently, and it just, I don't know, it feels like when I think about my past, it feels like I'm watching a movie of somebody else. Mm-hmm. And it's in I don't know if that's like an identity crisis disorder or some shit. No,
it's probably not. I wouldn't say, like, it's just funny because it would be very different. Because you have, for who you are now, and then looking back to somebody completely different, it makes you wonder, it's like, how could I ever have been that person at that time?
Yeah.
Because now this is all I know.
Yeah.
But I would have to assume that that's probably a pretty common thing for anybody. You move it on. You're not really the person you're going to be changed back in high school. Some people don't change, but I would think that most people change who they kind of who they are. They find their true identity as they have more experiences alone and have to look after themselves.
I think the reason why I hate it so much is because I wish that I had a strong connection with my family, and I think maybe another part of it is that when I've been gone for so long, we live so far away, like you can only go home maybe once or twice a year, and then you kind of lose that connection. And my younger sisters were so young when I left that they, my family basically had a family without me for 10 years. So, or longer than that, we've been gone for 12 years already. 29, yeah. So, I think that's a big part of it for me, is that I wish that I had the connection and the closeness that they do. Because they all talk every day.
Yeah.
They all text each other every day. I talk to my parents every week, but like my sisters and whatnot, because we don't have a life or anything in common, we talk a couple times a year when I see them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's kind of it's just a very weird thing. And like even when I've taken girls that I've been dating back home, they're like, you really came from this? Like, you are nothing like your family. Well, yeah, I know. Thanks for rubbing salt in that wound.
But it's not like you weren't ever.
No, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be. Now I'm not. Now I don't feel like I have a home to go back to. So, any other depressing people out there like that? Like, my God, I can't believe how depressed I got.
Yeah, I mean, people change. You can't really stop that. I'm sure a lot of you watching are not the same person that you were when you were younger. There's just times change, your values change.
Yeah.
Everything just changes, so you kind of develop with that.
I just want to say one last thing. Have you been back to our town recently, or like in the last couple of years?
Yeah.
It's so weird. It feels like the Twilight Zone because you go to all the different stores on Main Street.
Oh, that's
and then
different.
It's the same cashiers and the same people. And it's like nothing has changed. And you walk in and it's like the Twilight Zone. Mm-hmm. It's so strange. And then you'll see people walking around that you, like, 10, 12, 15 years ago, you've seen them walk that exact same path. And it's like, oh
yeah,
my God,
it's kind of funny seeing
weird.
the same people, but they like don't even recognize you anymore.
Yeah, you're
That's
on
funny.
the outside looking in.
You're just some stranger to them now almost.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny.
It is so weird. Anyways, yeah, I guess that's the end of this one.
Yeah, so we'll you let us know down in the comments if you've changed, if you feel like you've changed, or if you feel like you're the same person. I mean, I feel like it'd be hard to stay the same person, but maybe you have your reasons. Let us know in the comments down below. And we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.